Hi, my name is Atul Kumar. I'm an actor, director, producer of this theatre group based in Bombay and Kamshet, close to Lonavala, called The Company Theatre. We have been, since the last 2 to 3 years, been trying to develop a theatre production called, we have tentatively named it Parables of Sinister Misdeeds Committed in This House. Last 3 years or so has been they have been extremely tedious and full of a lot of turmoil and personal as well as larger societal. It has moved a lot of people to do things which they have never thought they would. People have questioned themselves. We have lost a lot of people, very close people to us. People have basically last 3-4 years have changed the course of everybody's lives, if I'm not exaggerating. We picked up a play by Harold Pinter a long time back called The Mountain Language, and we wanted to address the idea of fascist state and fascism in ordinary lives. There have been enough instances in this country where one has felt the need to, as an artist, to address that. While we were still preparing for that piece, we were suddenly confronted with our realities changing around us when CA and NRC protests started happening, and we realized that what we were talking of in Harold Pinter's play required us to immediately respond to what was happening around the country. So we sort of abandoned the idea of doing the play as it was and started devising a piece which sort of responded to what was happening in our country at that time. A lot of us from different parts of the country had come together to Bombay. We were more than 50 actors at that time, and I was directing them. And we were planning to do a live theatre production. Just as we were coming close to having a semblance of a structure of this play, COVID hit us and we were separated, and we were thrown into this complete darkness. All these 50 wonderful artists who were singers, dancers, musicians, actors had to leave Bombay and actually run back to their respective towns and cities, Bombay being so expensive. So they went back, and months passed when actually nothing happened regarding our project, and we realized that there was a lot of gloom that was setting in, a lot of sadness, a lot of isolation, and a lot of this solitude slowly started corroding into these artists' lives. We were realizing that there was something going on even with our own friends who had parted ways and gone back home. There were lots of testimonies that were coming up where people were feeling suicidal, they were feeling extremely sad, extremely isolated, and aimless, nearly, having no hope to come back to Bombay and leave alone theatre to even plan or think of a new life. It's then that we realize that perhaps thanks to Zoom and Google Meets and other platforms, we thought that we should continue rehearsals. Whether we finally will be able to do a show or not was inconsequential, certainly. And all 50 of us started meeting online, and we were rehearsing every day and coming up with new ideas. And slowly what started emerging was this desire to forget performing live, but actually making an interactive interface with the audience and doing this digitally. We were also very disillusioned by the kind of theatre which was happening digitally at that time, which was basically recordings of live performances. We really needed and wanted to create a language which was digital, which would allow audiences to not passively view but actively engage on a digital interface to enter the world of this piece that we were creating. We shot, lots of filmmakers got involved, lots of visual artists got involved, musicians, we composed our original music, and of course from 50 we were left alone with 30 actors. But we did not give up the fight, and we continued making this piece. Of course, with changing time and with the first wave going into the second wave, priorities changing, in the middle suddenly live performances opening, and we got a chance to get at least 10 of these actors together. We did take an offshoot of this idea and perform live at our theatre residency in Kamshet, where we actually invited the audience, still addressing the same thing. Now, of course, other than fascism, this very personal sort of a gloom and this the way people were basically dealing with so much death and uncertainty that was going on around us started seeping into the content of this piece. So it became extremely dynamic. All we were doing was we were reacting to ourselves, what we were going through internally in our personal spaces, and what was happening to our country and to this world in external spaces. So slowly we created very solid content, and we then found out that even digitally to produce this work was impossible because it required a lot of money in many lakhs of rupees, and this project stayed suspended. It is now that when theatres are opening again, we hope to create yet another version of the piece, which is more or less an exhibition performance. So it would probably be in a space when we do perform it like an exhibition piece, like a museum or a gallery, which has multiple rooms, and audiences, it's very, very interactive. So audiences would actually move from one room to the other to experience these various different mini worlds that we have created over the last 2 to 3 years. We also hope that with changing time, now that we are free of the kind of isolation which we were facing earlier, we might be able to bring in a lot of new things that we all have been individually experiencing, and the live element, of course. So this is what our project is, and it basically is a reflection on what is happening in our personal lives, in our spiritually as well as emotionally, what is happening to our city, to our country, what is happening to populace at large, where we are losing control of our own lives, our own words, our own freedom of expression, more and more, and day by day. And today, where we stand, when just last 3 days we are again confronted with a newer reality of human beings not being, we came out of this pandemic hoping that one thing that we've learned is probably empathy for other human beings. One thing that we've learned is how much gratitude we suddenly all have experienced, that we are alive, that we still have each other to communicate with, to live with. And then to be confronted with what is happening in Russia, and what that country is doing to other countries around them, and how this could actually inflict a wave of fascism of a completely dire nature, makes us question why we are making art as it is at all. So it really is a quest for me right now to try and understand why we create art, why we should be aware of the politics around us, why we should be aware of from minuscule to the majuscule that is happening in this world, and whether art still matters. So that is what our journey is, and we would like to explore this live as well as digitally, and reach out to as many people as possible. We don't have any answers. We would like to raise questions physically, in space, using all the other art forms that have come together to make this piece till now for us. And as I said, more than 50 artists are involved, which includes visual artists, dancers, musicians, actors, of course, filmmakers, editors, and other people who are involved in organizing this. So thank you very much for listening to me and for listening to the vision of this piece. Hopefully we should be able to reach out to you very soon.